This was an absolute explosion of the extra system, leaving no nostril safe from the rancid smell of the room. Hi guys, welcome back to the Quora Zone. Today I'll be reading from what's your oh my god, I can't believe this is happening moment. Our next post is from Emily Couture. In my freshman year of school, there was a girl and a guy. The girl was my best friend, the guy was my crush. I was completely infatuated. I was too chicken to make a move, so she did. That hurt, but I brushed it off. People can't help how they feel, right? If she liked him, she couldn't control that. Sure, she could control how she handled it, maybe ask me first because she knew how much I liked him. But no, she didn't ask, didn't give me a warning, it hurt. But she couldn't control it, right? I tried to let it go, but it continued to hurt. When she made a point to kiss him in front of me, when she only held his hand when I was looking, when she made sure to be all over him in front of me after I explained politely that it was uncomfortable for me and asked her to stop. She kept up with that charade for about 6 months, and every month, every day, every class that I shared with him, it hurt worse and worse. Until they broke up. I hate to admit it, but I was happy. It felt like revenge. After that, the year continued mildly normal. I was depressed and anxious, but that became the new normal. As for the shocking moment, one day, the summer after that school year, I had a pool party. I invited all of my friends, not including that girl. I cut her out of my life. And I didn't invite him, but the boy showed up. We began talking as friends sometime over the summer. He wasn't a stranger. I would have invited him if I had thought to. I still liked him. I never stopped. The party ended, everyone went home but him. The party was a massive flop. Friends got into fights, other friends broke up. I felt like it was all my fault, and I was crying by the pool. I thought everyone had left, but he hadn't. He saw me go sit by the pool and walked over to check on me. He sat next to me quietly until he turned to me and asked if I was okay, and asked if it was okay to hug me. Then he did, and he talked to me, and somehow everything came spilling out. I told him about how my ex-friend, how she hurt me. I told him how upset I was and how sad I felt. I told him everything except how I really felt about him. The moment that I couldn't believe this is when he backed away from me and told me his side, except he didn't leave anything out. I learned about how my ex-friend had manipulated him into a relationship, how she told him not to talk to me, but she would break up with him, how she flirted with his best friend constantly, how she wouldn't go on dates with him, would only go near him in school, around me basically, and how he had liked me the whole time and from the very beginning felt trapped in that relationship. He said that he didn't want to make me feel uncomfortable if I didn't feel the same way, but he hated seeing me upset and would be there if I needed anything at all. Then his mum showed up. He hugged me one last time and got in the car. He texted me until 3 the next morning making sure I was okay. And then we went on our first date. We've been together now for 3 years. Finding out how he felt was shocking enough. Finding out about her lies and deception and how truly manipulated she was like a slap in the face. The most shocking revelation I've ever had. Alright, there is an edit here. It says, yes, she was likely troubled and unfortunately I'm no longer with this boy, but I found someone else who is lovely and supportive in every way. The moral of my story is to just be mindful of who you are spending your time with and don't ignore the signs when someone seems to be treating you poorly, even if they're a friend. Our next post is from Barbara Lamaster. The grey sky and rainy weather matched my mood perfectly. My then husband had been quiet most of the evening and we were driving home. You know how your brain tells you something's wrong, but you can't piece it together? That was how I felt. Something, somewhere, was off. What's wrong? I ask. Nothing, he replies. The kids are in the back seat, also very quiet. We can talk later, okay? If something is wrong, please tell me, I say, trying to be nice, trying to be helpful. How to say this? He starts, very quietly, not his normal speaking voice. You know how when you ride a roller coaster, there's a portion of the ride, the very beginning where you go up? It's very noisy. The cars trudge along the tracks before getting to the apex of the ride, and then the momentum carries you through all the twists, turns, and loops. That's how I felt, like I was heading somewhere I didn't want to be, but it was too late to get off the ride. I don't love you anymore, and I don't think I have for a couple of years now. I think he kept on talking, but I stopped listening after those words. I felt a physical pain deep inside my lower back that paralyzed me momentarily. The roller coaster is beginning its descent now, down the first turn. All you see is the ground below. Far, far below. It went on, stating that it had been a gradual thing. is falling out of love with me. We were still young and had two small kids, one of whom would be starting in kindergarten in the fall. Yes, we had stressful days, but who doesn't? I thought we were doing okay. We were both trying to provide a decent middle-class life for ourselves and our kids. The roller coaster is now going to its first turn, and you shift in the car as the gravity pulls on you. Another turn is coming up, and then you see a limp in the distance. Is there someone else? I ask. Not really. What does that mean? I'm getting indignant. The roller coaster goes through another turn and continues on its path towards the loop. I had an opportunity, but I didn't take it. I feel better. For a few moments, anyhow. I'm still mystified as to how all this is happening to me. I've tried to the best of my ability to be a good wife and mother. I do not pretend to be Donna Reed or June Cleaver. I only know how to be Barbara. The roller coaster starts its way through the loop and you feel your stomach drop. We get home and I see that bags are packed and sitting on the bed, on our bed. He tells me that he is going to spend this weekend with his parents to figure some things out. The roller coaster comes out of the loop and launches itself into more turns. You're flung back and forth against the seat, but you hold on. The wind whips your hair and your face repeatedly. He leaves after we put the kids to bed. I'm very quiet for most of the night. For the first time in years since I was a child, I sleep with the light on in my bedroom because I'm afraid. The roller coaster is now slowing down, having exhausted its momentum. You see the loading area coming into view. You're grateful because you don't think you can take another loop or turn. That was the first night of the beginning of the end of my 10-year marriage. We divorced immaculately. That night is forever etched into my mind. Our next post is from Matt Mercer. I was shopping one day and found a bone for my new puppy, Moose. It was really cheap and at a convenience store, so I knew it wasn't the highest quality, but I figured, what's the worst that can happen? I go home and give Moose his new bone. His tail is swinging, leaving no glass of water safe, and he pops onto the ground enjoying chewing the bone with his aching puppy teeth. That night, nothing was out of the ordinary. He went to sleep and slept until we had to go out in the morning. We spent some time with him in the morning and he was fine. I left him with my girlfriend and went to class. She had to leave for work before I was getting home, so she brought him up into his crate for the few hours. When I got home, I walked into the house unassumingly. I was beginning to get into the routine of having a dog, and life was easier again. He fell into a sleep schedule and he loved his crate, so we were confident leaving him there for a few hours at a time. On any normal day, he would just run down to the door as soon as he got out of his crate, so we could let him out. Today was a particular warm late summer day, probably around 80 degrees. Our house doesn't have any AC, so it was warm and sticky with a sort of humidity hanging in the air that you could feel envelope you as soon as you stepped through the door. I trekked up the stairs to go see my little pup and began smelling the smelliest of all smells coming from behind the closed door. Well, he is a particularly gassy puppy, so I didn't think much of it. Just that he must have had an upset tummy. Poor boy. As soon as I opened that door, though, I knew this was no fart. This was an absolute explosion of the exhalatory system, leaving no nostril safe from the rancid smell of the room. My sleeve automatically covers my nose, and I worry about the toxicity of the air I'm breathing in. I take a few slow motion steps over to his crate to confirm the darkest of my nightmares. Diarrhea everywhere. It had splattered up the walls, through the rungs of the crate, all over the blankets, and worst of all, it was dried into his fur. I am grimacing just thinking of it. What's the first thought that comes to your mind, you may ask? I consider myself a fairly good person, but I hate poop. My girlfriend bought me a scuba for our walks because I was so disgusted if I had to clean it up when I walked in without her. All my morality was out of the window the minute I walked into that room. I checked my phone. Still 4 hours until she was getting home. Could I leave him in there for her to deal with? I only have an hour before I have to leave again. How can I possibly avoid this? I decided to be the valiant, upstanding man that I think of myself. I reached for the crate door and opened it up. Moose comes trotting out as if nothing is out of the ordinary, flinging semi-dry clumps of poop off his tail and around the room. I take his playpen outside and set up in the grass, and very gingerly pick him up. I rush him outside and let him sit in the pen in the grass while I clean up the war zone. I folded up the blankets, touching only the clean parts, and brought them directly to the washing machine. The blanket ball is oozing and dripping onto the concrete basement floor, and I, Blake Griffin, slammed the poop-riddled ball into that unlucky washing machine. I grab some disinfectant and paper towels and clean out the droplets and head back up to the stank. I begin first with the walls. It was quick and easy. I'm running through these paper towels like it's nobody's business. Now to the crate. I was hitting clump after clump and trying to clean all the tiny spaces in between the crates bars to no avail. Every poop stain I wiped up, 3 more appeared from the cracks. I began amassing a ball of poopy paper towels, and the disinfectant was getting low. Before too long, I'd cleaned it up to the best of my ability and picked up all the major chunks and spread carpet cleaner. As I'm carrying the paper towel ball to the bathroom garbage can, I feel the unmistakable acidity in my throat. Between the putrid smell and the handful of poop, I'd been expecting this sooner or later. The vomit is rushing up my throat faster than I can ever imagine, and I simultaneously puked in the toilet and threw the paper towels right out next to me. Now it smelled twice as bad in the bathroom as in the bedroom. The double down smell activated my vomiting again, and more came crashing into the toilet. I take a few seconds to recoup and go back downstairs to begin phase 3. I took some mouthwash and made my mouth feel clean again, and then drank a cold glass of water. At this point, panting and sweating from the unbelievable stress of the situation, I figured I needed to get the whole deed done before I left. I went out and grabbed Moose, who was patiently sunbathing as I went through trauma-inducing horror upstairs. I turned the bath on and began scrubbing the shit out of his fur, literally. His puppy shampoo smells wonderful, but somehow when you mix a good smell and a terrible smell, it results in a smell that was even worse than before. I'm basically speed bathing him at this point because I am so anxious for this whole situation to be over with. Eventually, I feel as though he is adequately cleaned off, and I threw a new blanket in his crate and put him back in there. Finally, the deed was done. I had grown a head full of grey hairs and developed 13 ulcers from all the stress. I was just feeling, but it was over. I called my girlfriend at work. I needed to let her know. She picks up the phone, not politely, but not impolitely. More confused than anything that I was calling her while she was working, I say, "Laura, something happened." "Oh my god, what? Are you okay?" No, I'm not okay." "Are you hurt? Is Moose okay? What's going on?" Long pause. Moose had diarrhea in his crate. It was everywhere. I just cleaned it up and gave him a bath. The blanket is in the washing machine. I'm going back to class now. I can't talk anymore. Oh god, okay, I'll leave work early. She left work early but didn't get there until after I had left. By the time she got home, the smell had cleared up and Moose smelled of his delightful puppy shampoo. The blanket was clean, all back to normal. When I got home later that day, he was excited to see me and his tail wags and licks helped me overcome my earlier experience. We slept peacefully that night. Luckily, his stomach seemed to have settled after the episode. Alright, can someone let me know in the comments if someone has had a likely story from that quite disgusting story from a dog? Or any animal at all so we can all share the pain? Our next post is from Elijah DeBoer. I was in Walmart for 4 things: a portable charger, charging cord, trail mix, and shoes. It was a great morning. The weather was a little warmer than usual. The snow was melting and a couple of birds were even chirping. As I walked through those automatic doors, I was in a great mood. It was all about to change. Walmart greeters are one of the more defining features of the Walmart experience. I always do my best to say hi, ask them how their day is going, and try to be an all-around nice person. Well, today I should have just kept walking. The greeter was sitting in a chair and her head was turned, very short hair, and was decently overweight. The point I'm trying to make here is that she wasn't exactly the most feminine creature I'd ever laid my eyes upon. I cheerfully sauntered towards her, flashed a large smile, and said the 3 most regrettable words of my entire life. "Hello there, sir." She snapped her head in my direction, and immediately I grasped my error in its full magnitude. I had tended to recover by instantly blurting out, "Damn," but the damage was already done. I scuttled off with mutterings, "I'm so sorry," and "I hate Tuesdays." But my quest for mortal embarrassment wasn't just over yet. No. I quickly purchased my portable charger, trail mix, and charging cord and exited the store. The way my Walmart was set up, you are forced to walk past the greeter both when you enter and leave the store. In a superiorly awkward 10 seconds of terrible shame, I walked past this lady again, keeping my eyes glued to the ground the entire time. But alas, in my hustle, I realized I forgot to purchase my shoes. Now, you have to understand that the ones I was wearing at the time appeared as if they had been simultaneously mauled by 40 dogs as a chew toy for the past 40 years. Not really, but I desperately needed new ones. In a moment of sheer torment, I knew I had to re-enter the store. I passed this poor lady again, bought the shoes, and again stood at the front doors. All in all, I had to walk by her 4 times. I still have nightmares. Walmart greeter lady, if you're reading this, forgive me. My parents did a better job of raising me than that. Our last post is from Jules Bearsong. A friend had invited me to stay at his parents' cabin in the mountains of North Carolina for a cold weekend in January several years back. We were both celebrating birthdays, so it seemed like the perfect idea to go celebrate. The cabin was beautiful, but the drive getting up the mountains was ridiculously steep. I was thankful that I would be the only one doing the drive up and down once, since they had better vehicles suited to the terrain. It was snowy and the views from the cabin were spectacular. His parents had built the cabin themselves, so that they could add in all the creature comforts you could dream of. Big windows to see the full mountainscape, heated floors, fireplaces everywhere. It was perfection. We weren't there just to hang around the cabin. A celebration requires good food, so we decided to go into town for a special dinner to celebrate our birthdays. It was one of his favourite places, and knowing my taste, he'd know I love it too. But the weather took a turn by the time we were finishing up the meal. It started snowing again, and the temperature dropped sharply. It also grew dark, fast. Any other plans we had were put on hold so we could make the trek back up the mountain. As we started to make the climb slowly, but surely, we saw other vehicles stop on the side. This winding road could barely handle a two-way road. The heater in our SUV could barely heat up with the cold, and everything was starting to feel icier and icier beneath the tires. We passed car after car along the side, wondering at what point we should stop too. But it wasn't that bad until we weren't going uphill anymore. In the scariest few seconds of my life, we started plummeting back down around the corner. I couldn't tell you if we fell for 2 seconds or 20. It's one of those moments where everything slows down, your heart falls into your stomach, and you think, I might die here. The only thing that kept us from going over the guardrail and into the trees was the guardrail and another stopped vehicle. The sudden crunch to a halt, as frightening as it was, told me I was still alive. Thankfully, so was he. Fingers, check. Toes, check. Neck still moves, check. Teeth present and accounted for, double check. No injuries to the folks in the other vehicle. All good, they had abandoned their vehicle long ago. Smart people. The rest of the night was a blur of waiting for help and gaining a ton of respect for the tow truck drivers, who were easily pulling quadruple duty that night. I wonder how many other people told the tow truck drivers that night. Oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Alright guys, that is all for today. Please let me know down in the comments what your favourite story was, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!